excursions. Did we find time for normal life? We tried to squeeze in as much normalcy as we could. However, Aunt Eddie is not your average, your typical, or even your ordinary homemaker.
No,
When you're living in paradise, you do what all the hip people in ordinary paradise do, and especially your hip aunt. You kick up your heels and you do what is expected of you, and that means lots of golf, a lot of bingo, and a lot of sun and fun. I remember many years later when Eddie would reminisce about her beloved Hawaii, she would get that far off look in her eye, and I could see Hawaii reappear in her mind and take her back, even for a moment, to a time and a place that only Eddie could appreciate to its fullest. Thank you, Aunt Eddie, for being part of my life, for being so uniquely you, and giving me many fond memories. No one can say you are not living life to its fullest, even at 90. Have an exciting 90th. My love and best wishes go out to you on your birthday.
Isn't that nice?
P.S. How can I speak of my wonderful aunt without her wonderful culinary creations? Appearing in my mind, Eddie is such a fabulous cook of the old school. When you sit down to dinner in her home, you partook of a feast that was hearty, delicious, and flavorful.
What did she like on it?
He didn't say what he liked best.
Yeah, he
Just
was
said that you were good food.
thankful. Yeah.
Hey, Grandma, here's a drink for you.
Oh, sweetie, thank you. I've been dying
It's
for
already
a
down
drink.
there, so, but it's
Oh.
nice and cold. It's got,
My goodness, that tastes good. Oh, gee.
This is from Ann. Texter. Ann Texter.
Well, she,
What
this year?
Yeah, what a wonderful party. Sorry I can't come. We did not have as much quality and snapshots as you kids do now, but wanted to share what I have. We always had fun with Eddie and Judd. He and my husband were great friends, so the husband-wife tournaments were great outings. Oh no, this isn't from Ann.
No,
This
that
is
ain't
from
Ann. That don't sound like her.
This is those people you golf with all the time.
Cedar.
this side is from Ann.
Oh, that's the Cedarbirds.
Where's, is this
I think
Cedarbird?
I think
This
this
is
is Ann's.
Cedarbird?
And that's like.
That was Cedarbirds, and she sent these pictures of you guys golfing.
Oh, yes, because we were always together.
And Ann
Of
said,
course, here's Ann and Ollie.
our time with Judd and Eddie in 1987, a month in the winter, the longest time we spent vacationing. Eddie helped finding our apartment. We had a great time just being together. These are pictures Eddie took. It's a month I'd like to live over.
Didn't know I did so many things, honey.
I know you lay it out. There was
But it's
I had that whole table full of pictures. I had pictures everywhere.
So that
honey,
was from the Cedarbirds that talked about
which was Cedarbird?
this one. We did not have
That's
much
better,
quality
that looks more like her
snapshots
writing.
as your kids
What,
do
I
now.
didn't hear you yet.
Says, what a wonderful party. Sorry I can't come, but wanted to share what I have. We always had fun with Eddie and Judd. He and my husband were great friends, so the husband-wife tournaments were great outings.
Oh,
And these
yeah.
are pictures from
See,
your
we
golf.
went to all of them together. Yeah,
Those are from your golf tournaments.
yeah.
Looks like you're there on the...
Well, I should have had my, how about I didn't send you my hole-in-one?
You know, there was a couple little medals in there, but I don't think we have them all.
No,
Yeah.
I got, you get so you're
Yeah.
careless with it. But how about my hole-in-one?
All right,
There's only one of my butts that had a hole-in-one.
I know.
sit back down. We gotta go back. I feel like we keep getting started and then we get sidetracked.
My God.
Everybody keeps
Did
changing
you get married
subjects.
yet?
No,
Well, I finally went.
oh,
Finally
tell us
went.
about when you got married.
After my mother met him, she didn't care if he come in his underwear. I mean, she just liked
She was
him so
impressed.
Oh, she just fell in love with him, and he fell in love with my mother, and they were very good friends, always did things together. I mean, so he'd come, and if she wasn't feeling good or something, he'd always come over to see her. He was so wonderful to my mother, he really was. And she was lonely, she didn't have many doing much for her. So, anyway, and so we finally gonna get married, so she fixed the clothes, I guess.
What did Alma do? You said she sold clothes?
She did everything.
She had a shop?
She's a good seamstress.
She made, you
But
said
she
she had
couldn't
a
even
store.
get these jobs. Huh?
I thought you said she made clothes for people.
It just was natural. She could make anything, yeah, anything. And she made these gorgeous, she had a whole book of all the wedding gowns she made for people. You know, she always had to ask them to bring a letter, have a picture of it. So she has this big book. I should have asked Doodle Dabble today, what happened to that book? I never seen. I'd like to see that book. She has a big book like this full of wedding gowns that Alma made for people. You know, whenever she got through, they took a picture. You know, so she could have.
That's a good idea.
And I've never seen that book. Now, Karen's got
Now,
that.
how did you said that you had an uncle that had houses that you lived in, he had houses all over?
Well, that's Charlotte's stepdad.
Oh.
No, you said that
That's
your
in
mom lived in a house of your uncle's. The house that you lived in when you were a child.
That was Scott's. That's Charlotte's stepdad.
Oh,
That-
so
he's-
Charlotte's stepdad.
He's the one that had everything.
How did they have so much? What did they have
Well,
where they had so much
Well, he
during
was
the Depression?
he was older, much older when they got married. He never got married. And I guess he was in real estate and stuff, see?
Mhm.
And, because Charlotte said that he's the one that told her a lot about selling and buying houses. And also for the, what did they do, stock market? He used to work, and that's why Charlotte got this much money, because she remembered things her dad told her to do, and she'd buy things now and then, and about 10 years ago, which she told me, or 12, she bought this, set money in, how you give money for the stock, I don't know how you do that. What did you, I know she bought, you know people need money to start things, and
Right.
you donate it. Oh, and I don't know how they do it some way. Well, anyway, she did this. And because when I come here, when I first saw her this last time, she told me about, you know what, I bought some, I don't know if it's a piece of land or some patent thing, you know, something on a patent or something. But anyway, she said, you know, I've never heard from him. You know, she said, she had all her dad and mother money, you know, so she had to have something. But she put a lot of money into this. And so, she said, you know what? Oh, well, that's why I asked her about that house. And she said, you know what, all of a sudden, here she got this $1 million. You know, that was from that deal she made years, 10,
Oh, wow.
12 years ago, never even hear from them. And look, I guess they never lose track of you. And they sent that money to her. And so now, see, she's sitting pretty, sure enough. And she's been well ever since, and looks real good and everything. Oh,
So you got married, and it only through church,
we got married.
and it rained.
Rained all day. Had them big
Just a little bit.
umbrellas up to have for people to get into the church, you know?
Is that in San Diego?
Yeah,
How many people came?
I have no idea. There just was a good bunch, and they had the family, of course. So I don't imagine it wasn't real big, but it wasn't real small either. Because see, we all went to that church all the time, so a lot of church people come when there's a wedding.
Right.
Lutheran
And-
church?
Huh?
You say Lutheran church?
That Lutheran church, right on the corner, but I don't know, it's maybe moved, I don't know where it is.
What do you remember about the ceremony?
That it was kind of long. Yeah.
You were ready for the
I can
honeymoon?
remember standing there thinking, and Chuck, he never said nothing about nothing about it. But I mean, if he didn't even like it, he wouldn't say
Right.
anything. But I remember that, standing there and thinking, gee, they're ever gonna get over it, you know? So it must have been a long wedding thing. But I did have this.
Did you have a big party?
No, we left right away and went up in the hills in the country. They're up there where we played in the snow for a couple of days.
Snow?
In San Diego, you know, you go up at mountains quite a ways away. And it don't snow all the time, but it snows them. I remember it had some snow. And we went up that night, I mean right after. But see, Madeline and Morris went with us. Madeline, Judd's sister,
Yeah.
one of them that he brought to San Diego. Well, they were like this always, Madeline and her brother, Judd. Judd and her were like this. And so and he was in the Navy like Judd was. So we were all doing the same thing, so we always lived near each other and everything. So they went with us up there to the honeymoon cottage, and we stayed there for 2 or 3 days, that's all I remember. And the first day we got out, we rode horses, and Madeline had a lame horse, her horse.
So,
Her horse is lame. And all I think about that trip was we were trying to ride the horses around all of it, and there was that horse, hopping. Oh, here, something like that. Oh, I just love it to pieces.
Come on, Katie.
Oh, her skin is soft as silk. You know what?
Grandma's telling us
Alright.
stories. Come and listen to the stories. Where you can sit with Mommy.
Where you been?
She's getting her suitcase packed for your...
getting her suitcase packed. So,
Oh, you
Madeline
go-
had a lame horse.
Oh, that was comical. Everybody thought that was the funniest thing. But that horse just hobbled along and it like hop. I suppose that's all they had up there, 2 horses for us to ride on.
Did you know how to ride a horse?
Well, we must have. We got on the road. Yeah, because we done it before, because I remember I had this riding outfit. You know, these slick pants. You know how you have.
I thought you didn't have any clothes.
No, this is
Where
after
did
I
you get
worked.
riding?
When
Oh.
I was working at all that tips you get and everything. Oh, that was pretty good.
She's got riding pants.
Ooh.
I had riding pants and boots, black boots. I'll never forget it. I just loved them. So I brought them along, and that's what I had on. I don't remember Madeline having any.
That was like
She
a
got the
honeymoon?
lame
That was-
horse. And that horse was just hopping the, oh God. And we just laughed all the way. But that's what we did for the honeymoon. All my brother came up the next morning, Dutchie,
Really?
and cooked our breakfast. He had a big grill there, and he had all this food all over the grill. I remember that. That was a highlight
Wow.
for him to come. Everybody was in on our
Oh, yeah,
wedding.
everything.
Everybody.
They were all having
But
fun.
anyway, they all liked Judd real well. Well, how could you help it? You liked him to the end. Everybody did. He had lots of friends in service. They all, like, oh, where's Jetty? Where's Jetty? And they all, he was riding a motorcycle when I met him. And he had a big old motorcycle. And oh, I'd ridden it because the guy I went with
Yeah.
took me for dates on his motorcycle. Oh, I was kind of scared,
Yeah.
but he was a good driver. I
So
guess.
after you got married, did he have to go off to the Navy right away?
We
or-
were gonna go, he was gonna be sent someplace. Where did we go first? Down to Florida? He was gonna be sent someplace, because I remember we just rented this place a little, we weren't there long. And because we knew, we never bought anything because we were always just moving. And so, but some of our friends did. That one friend is still alive, she's a little older than me. She lives in Florida, and she's got that home down there. And her husband bought her that while they were in the Navy. You know, they just bought it on the side. But I suppose Judd and I was too busy doing something else, I don't know. But she learned to play golf too, like I did. But her husband died, but she's living down there yet and got this lovely home. All my friends got a lovely home. All of them but me, but I had my Jetty. And I'm telling you, you couldn't beat him. You know, he was different. You don't find many like Judd. He didn't want anything for himself, ever. Ever. I said, don't you want a new car? Why don't we get a nice new car? No, this is good enough for him, this old red Jeep we had. Well, He didn't want anything new. He didn't want any new clothes. He didn't want, I mean, just nothing, don't matter with me. But he always liked to know what you wanted. You know, I just never knew anybody like him. And he was so, you know what I can tell you with truth? Whenever he says he's going to be there, you know, like in the service and he's going to be there, or when I go to meet him, you know, and things, never did he fail and not be there. He was there, always. And I had many a friend that here they'd wait and had to sit around and wait for they'd see if they were going to come and pick them up, you know, or take them to home. Oh, I've known many when we went on our trips, you know, stuff, going where the husbands are. And so, see, a lot of them weren't faithful that way, but Judd never let me down. I guess he thought I'd never make it on my own.
What was the wildest adventure you think you went on with Grandpa?
Oh, Grandpa.
Back in the early days.
Grandpa,
Wildest adventure.
He really wasn't a wild one. And he wasn't one that
What's the wildest thing you wanted to do that he just agreed to do, even though he
no,
really
I
didn't want
wanted
to?
him to learn to dance, but he said he never could do that. He just finally got up in the dance. This old lady, well, she's like me in a group of young ones, and goes there at one of our parties, and he says, John, you're getting up and dancing. I don't care if you want to or not, just get up. And so she took him around. So he'd been walking around kind of like a waltz around. And that's the most he ever did was dancing. He just didn't care for it. But he was ahead of his squadron. So every time we had a church Navy party, Jud would get all his gang together and say, you know what, here's my Addie, she's here. And she loves to dance, so you can all dance all night. You know, wasn't that nice? I mean, that's what I did. Jud sit and visited with everybody while I danced the night.
What would he say was your craziest idea? What would Grandpa say your craziest idea was ever?
No, I don't think really had. Like I said, he wasn't much for anything new or any wild thing to do. He didn't do any wild, and he wasn't all mushy either. He wasn't, you know, like that. He was just an ordinary guy, and just was a good guy. They just liked him. Everybody liked him because he was so, anything you mentioned, let's do. Well, that's fine, we'll do it. You know, people like people like
So
that.
after Florida, then did he
Oh, we
go
went all
away
over
for a
the
while?
globe, honey.
He was
Everywhere.
gone when Jackie
Even-
was born, right?
Yeah, Judy was born in Florida.
Oh, really?
Jackie was born in San Diego.
And was he gone when she was born?
Huh?
He wasn't there when she was born, was he?
Judd? No.
Was he gone
No,
out to?
she was only
ship?
6 weeks old when I got on the train by myself and took her back to Florida.
Oh, wow.
All by myself. She was so, I told you she was so good. Everybody on the train wanted me to get off and go relax. I looked like I was scared to death, I think. And they said, we'll take care of the baby. Oh, you think I would leave Jackie for 1 second? No. But I know why, because she never cried on the train. She was such a good baby. And you know what they did them days? The boarding, when they got on there with I had a, they didn't call it bedroom, what do you call
Sleeping
it?
car?
Huh?
A sleeping car?
Yeah, sleeping car. And so he had it all down and ready, and he said, oh, so here in the morning, Judd had talked to him. Here in the morning, he comes knocking on my canvas door, and he said, lady, here's a bottle for the baby. And he had it all made and brought it to me. And he left the bed down so I could have Jackie on the bed, you know, don't have to. And he was so, can you imagine them doing that now? No. And every meal he had that bottle warmed and brought it. Did Jackie ever care? She never drank a full bottle. Never. Never. I never got her to drink a whole bottle. She just dropped it, and she was so happy. Laughing all the time. She was a very good baby. And that's why they wanted me to get off and Why, I thought they might take my baby while I was gone or something, you know. But see, I had a bassinet all made up, and so I laid it on the bed, and that's what she slept in beside me on the. And I went, now look at here. I went all by myself all the way to Florida with a 6-week-old baby, my first one. And can you imagine these young mothers doing that now? They'd have a fit, they'd have to have a nursing maid and everything else along with them. Now look, and it worked out beautiful. I went everywhere with those kids on the train and bus.
When Grandpa was in Florida?
Uh-huh.
He was in Florida?
Yeah, but then we were. And we were there over a year because Judy was born the next year in Florida. Pensacola, Florida. That's where we were. And then they had 2 of us. Then there was 2 of them running around. And where did we go next?
When did you go to Panama?
Yeah, but not right away. I was at Panama. That's where I left. After I got married to Judd. Yeah, we were in.
Was that exciting to live in Panama?
Yeah, well, what I'm telling you, I was only gone about a month, and I missed my mother so much, and I didn't know, I just was lonesome. And so after a month, I wanted to get back with, I wanted to see my mother first. Okay, so Judge gets the pass. He says, I can't do this over and over, but he gets a pass, and I get on. He stood there in Panama. Oh, this is after I've been in Panama. He stood there, and I didn't know what to do. I thought I wanted to go home. I had to go home to see my mother. I went home on that boat by myself and saw my mother. 5 minutes later, I wanted to be back to Judge. See, I was just lonesome for my mother because I missed her so. And I couldn't go. So I sure got paid for that. I had to spend that whole 9 months by myself and take care of it.
You were pregnant, weren't you?
Yes, I said I was pregnant. And Judd wouldn't, he couldn't get no more pass, come back and forth. So I was just stuck. So I had to stay. So I never tried that deal again. I just, but anyway, then Judd and I went back on, that was more fun. We went every which way, flying, buses, trains. We loved the train. Oh, train is more fun than anything. You know what?
What do you like about it so much?
Oh, it's just fun. It's fun. You can get up, wander all over from one end of the train to the other, back and forth through the swinging doors and everything. And you can just, you don't have to sit in one seat all the time, you can just.
I mean, I figured she's in there.
Where have you been?
Shopping with kids, trying to get gas, they were closed.
We've been looking at these and reminiscing. Oh, Jack, I just love these days. Don't you love to look at them?
Well, Mom, I did, because I went through all the pictures and sent them to Kim.
We weren't
Well, a
sure.
lot of them.
We weren't sure one of these pictures
Are
was.
there any others in there we missed that you were going to tell us about?
Any other big stories?
Oh, I have so
Where are
many.
those from again?
No one's got more stories than I
Well, I want
have.
to hear them.
I could tell a million.
We already heard about that one. That's when you were what?
Isn't that cute how they fixed it there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I've
Yeah.
done that one time. And of course, thanks to Charlotte is the reason we really have a lot of these.
Well, we know all of these. That isn't the one. That's me and that's you. I mean, that's me. That's my sister. No, there was another one I wanted to ask you who it
I wonder how
was.
old your mother looked back then, because she couldn't have been that old.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Tilly.
Tilly
Oh, your
and
mother,
my mother and what was the other?
was she a
name?
stepsister?
No,
No,
there
that's
was
right.
3
Yeah,
of
one
us.
of them was a
Three of us,
stepsister.
Yeah, one's a stepsister. Because your
Oh,
mom and
I don't know this.
No.
Mom,
she
your
was
mom
talking
and
about that.
Tilly, yeah, your mom and Tilly were the only real sisters, right?
And you got all those certificates for what? Going to school on time and not missing any days?
That's it. You should have them.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
When did you have
I
time?
never miss
When
school.
did you have time to do that?
Look at,
All this time you didn't get to have any fun, look at you, you're having fun.
Remember, you weren't even born.
Fun.
But this is what we did, Jack. We played at the beach all the time.
And you were working at the Hofbrau.
And working, and I loved it, every minute of it. And then when I had my birthday wedding, hey,
Yeah.
the Hofbrau built my wedding cake.
Oh, your kid, what did it look like?
It was really pretty big, just
Wow.
loaded white.
More
I
than one
remember.
layer?
That's
Like
all I
two-
remember
Two
about
layers tall? The tall?
Not extra tall.
'Cause they didn't
No,
do
but
that
they
back
made
then,
it
right?
like, it was real
They
wedding
made
cake.
a wedding cake.
And that
Wow.
was
That
nice
was
of
nice
them.
of them.
And when I had Jackie, I got a big, what do you call them? That playpen, is that their playpen? And that, the whole bunch down there.
Aw,
And,
that is
so
so
that was,
nice.
Jackie,
So
come
did you
here.
go back to work there after the wedding? Did you
You
keep
never
working
worked
there?
again.
Oh, Jackie.
You never worked again.
I most, how do you know you
Oh,
were
I
even
shouldn't say that, you're
born?
right, you're a bartender.
God,
Sorry.
I sure did.
But I
work.
mean, when we were little.
I did work there till we left and went to Florida. I
Did you
did.
tell them about the day that you went, did you tell them when you decided you would go to work during the war? And
Huh?
did you tell them when you decided to go to work during the war and you went to work and you couldn't stand to leave your kids, so you left and never went back?
You plucked
That was
chickens.
when we were little.
I don't know
Did
what
you
you're
work at a
talking
chicken plucking?
What years were you in Hawaii there?
about. Hawaii.
50 to 55.
Jackie was 16 when we got on the boat to go home.
50 to
And
55.
Jack was born in 36, I guess. Huh? Jack,
Hmm?
36?
Actually, it was January 1st, 1951. We started out in 50, but by the time we got on the boat, it was January 1st, 1950.
That's all I remember for sure is Jack was gonna be 16.
Came back
when we
that
got
summer before
back
I
to
was
San
16.
Diego.
I was.
Judy was a year younger, so it was 1940.
51,
Yeah.
and we came back in 55.
Jack, that's a good looking picture for imagine back in those days.
Yeah, see, you got